Welcome to Fishing and Hunting, Texas. This week we're with Clark Wendlandt on one of the best lakes in the country, Sam Rayburn Reservoir. And then later in the show, Clark has some tips on how he tackles lakes with vegetation.
Sam Rayburn Reservoir, probably the best bass fishing lake in the country. I'm excited to be here though because I haven't been here in probably 3 years. I love fishing places that are new to me, and you know, even though I've been on this lake a lot of times, it's new right now because I hadn't been here in a while. I'm gonna start shallow, see if we throw some top water, rage swimmer, a little bit of everything, see if we can get some bites. If not, we'll go out deep, see if we can catch them. Thanks for joining us. This is Fishing and Hunting, Texas.
From Mexico to Louisiana, the Red River down to the Laguna Madre, Texas is one big playground. Join professional bass fisherman and 3-time FLW Angler of the Year, Clark Wendlandt, as he takes you on some of the best outdoor adventures the Lone Star State has to offer. This is Fishing and Hunting, Texas.
You know, when I first put my boat in the water, the first thing I thought of was I want to see if I can get way back in the bushes. The bushes were in the water, and so on Rayburn, when bushes are in the water, then that means that there's a chance there's going to be some fish back in them. And there's all kinds of different things you can do. I had a swim jig rigged up, I had a buzzbait rigged up, I had a pop and perch, I had a 1.5 rigged up, I had a couple of different baits to flip with. So any of those could have worked, and there's probably a variety more baits that could have worked. Oh, that's a good one. Just cranking a 1.5, covering water. And they're biting. I mean, we're catching everything. White bass, yellow bass. We hadn't caught catfish yet this morning, but I bet it's coming. That's a good fish right there. You know, when I was throwing that 1.5, I felt like I had the opportunity to catch just about anything on it. I was catching white bass one after another, and then the next one would be a largemouth. Those fish love that bait, especially when the bait's shallow. If I've got shad that are shallow, say 1 to 4 or 5 feet of water, a 1.5 or 2.5 are going to be great choices, and they bit that bait really well. And then we catch a black bass. Two-pounder. Now what I'm doing is basically we just put our boat in the water this morning. I'm just covering some water, and anytime I fish a place that I haven't been to in a while, I like just putting my trolling motor down and going, and I like fishing stuff that's really familiar. There's a bass. Good fish. I'll tell you one thing, one of the big keys in catching good fish on square bills have good hooks. And I like strong hooks. These are XX Strongs. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever seen one that I couldn't even get his mouth apart. But this one is one. There it is. Good strong hooks to me. Our big key is good fish though. 2.5 pounder.
Stay tuned. Clark is just getting started on Sam Rayburn Reservoir.
As people who love the outdoors, we know what we stand for. We stand for fish, wildlife, and conserving the places they call home. We stand for the traditions we inherited and that we must pass on. We stand for great gear, fair prices, expert service, and memorable experiences. At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we stand together for you.
Groundbreaking designs, unsurpassed quality, and unshakable confidence. Welcome to the Ranger Z500 and Z100 series. Leading the industry for over 50 years, these rigs are custom crafted and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver the ultimate ownership experience. The legendary Ranger Z series. Unleash next level performance. Evinrude E-Tech. Spend more time on the water.
Fishing and Hunting Texas is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. And by Garmin, fight your fish, not your fish finder. Welcome back to Fishing and Hunting Texas. Let's join Clark as he tries to find multiple patterns on Big Sam.
Wow, that was so cool. Look at this fish right here. He came right out of the middle of that big laydown. That's a good one. Buzzbait. I love a buzzbait. The coolest thing about a buzzbait is how much water you can cover. And we hadn't had a bite in a while, so I was just basically hauling butt, going fast. I may slow down now because I got that bite. That's fun. You know, as far as the buzzbait goes, the buzzbait to me is a great search bait. I like it on lakes that got a lot of shad in it. That's a time that I'll almost always have a buzzbait rigged up. You know, it's a little bit of an old school bait. This one was a 3/8 ounce Strike King buzzbait. I actually had a super toad on there instead of a skirt. And so a lot of times that toad, it makes it where they get that bait better. And I noticed that those fish were getting hooked really good. Oh, get in here. That's so much fun. He ate that buzzbait. Look how deep that is down in there. Not a big one, but I love catching them on different baits, man. These fish are thick and fat and wide. You just need a long one to get a big one. There's one. Oh, way up in there. I love throwing a buzzbait. It just started looking like it would be the right bait. Not a bad fish. Just throwing it way up deep in there, and that's awesome. Strike King Tour Grade 3/8 ounce buzzbait. Got a super toad on the bite. Let's try that again. You know, one thing you have to think of when you're fishing shallow cover is boat control, and that is a huge key. I ended up using my power poles fish after fish, or if I saw a log I wanted to fish, or if I just wanted to stop and re-rig and not float down the bank, I hit my front switch buttons, which is just a foot switch, over and over and over again, putting the poles down, picking them up, putting the poles down, picking them up. I've got my poles set to get down fast. I want them to stop me. Once I punch that button, I want those poles to get down really fast. I want to stop as fast as I can so that then I won't go in there and mess up any of that other water. I love those buzzbait bites. That's a good one. Skinny, but that's a nice fish. That is so awesome. Nothing like a buzzbait bite just covering water. I've never fished these places in my life. That's fun.
After the break, come back and join us for some more topwater action on Sam Rayburn Reservoir.
You sons of fishes. Ain't enough fish on this lake for 2 clubs.
Really? Well, we see plenty of fish live with Panoptics.
Yep. Dang, we should get Panoptics. Or maybe we'll just take yours.
What's going on here? You boys have license?
Yes, sir.
Nope. There he is.
Oh, I got it.
This portion of Fishing and Hunting Texas is brought to you in part by Strike King, owner Perfection and Hooks, Sawyer, we keep you outdoors, and by TH Marine. Welcome back to Fishing and Hunting Texas. Well, this is day 2, and Clark has moved to a completely different part of the lake.
I didn't. I didn't think he was big at all, but ended up being a almost 2-pounder. Now I just lost a good one in that exact same spot, and that's just a bed of peppergrass. This stuff right here, this leafy stuff, is called peppergrass, and then there's some other grass in there too. But let's see if I can get another one. You know, the reason you throw a popping perch in something like that big cypress swamp that we were fishing is because you can skip it up under things. The only other good topwater for skipping like that would probably be a buzzbait, but I just like the popping perch. The water was calm. You know, there was a little bit of grass, and the kind of grass it was mostly pepper grass scattered up in there. And so making, you know, skipping up under that stuff with a popping perch is really easy. Ooh, that's a big one. Look at the size of this thing. What a bite. Good grief. Ah. Look at the size of this fish. Now when you come to Sam Rayburn Reservoir, this is what you want. Golly. There we go. Look at this. That is awesome. Now that fish, you know, what I've done is I put my boat in the water and we have fished. I've lost a couple fish, but we're just getting back kind of in a big cypress swamp right now. And we're just basically covering water is all we're doing. And that's the way we're gonna start the day right there. About a 5-pounder, 5.5-pounder. That's awesome. We get a picture of him, let him go, and catch another one. That was awesome. That's why you go fish Sam Rayburn Reservoir right there. The thought of catching those big fish like that. Oh, that's cool. Popping perch. That is so awesome. You know, we just got in here and it kind of started to open up where there's room underneath a lot of this stuff. And bam, that's awesome. We had a number of bites on that, working around those trees and working around that grass. Popping perch is a bait you can get in just about anything. And if they're gonna bite topwater, a lot of times that's the best bait to fish. Now I really just kind of worked my way back in a creek, and you know, the way I fish places that I hadn't been in a while is I just want to cover water and fish stuff that really looks good to me. Rayburn has got a lot of stuff that looks really good. Not a big one, but it's a fish.
Many of the best lakes in Texas have vegetation. Clark gives us some insight on how he approaches fishing grass.
You know, there's a lot of Texas lakes that have aquatic vegetation. More than likely, if you're fishing a really good lake, it does have aquatic vegetation because the best lakes have it. There's lots of different kinds of grass. There's pepper grass, there's hyacinths, there's hydrilla, there's coontail, there's milfoil, all different kinds of grass, and there's a bunch of them I don't even know the name of. Today we're going to look at fishing grass. Get in there, figure out what baits we use. A little bit has to do with water temperature and time of year, but a lot of it has to do with getting your baits in that grass. Sometimes you have to get right in the middle of it, sometimes over the top of it. It's going to be a fun day. Let's see if we can catch some. You know, I talked about where to start on a grass lake, and I like knowing how deep the grass grows outside, and I want to know, you know, what it's like on the inside. But there's not really anything right or wrong doing it any way you go. You basically just got to get out there and fish. And I've got a variety of baits rigged up. That's one key is have a lot of different baits. Spinner baits, swim jigs, crank baits, stuff to flip in it, top water. I mean, I want a wide gamut of stuff so that as I'm going along trying to figure out, are they on the inside, are they on the outside, I can just pick up a rod and throw it. You know, I talked about going on the inside or outside of the grass. Well, a lot of times that grass is just so thick. You know, when you get in the fall of the year like this, that grass just gets so thick that you've got no choice, but it's hard to actually get on the inside. And that time I'm throwing a Hack Attack heavy cover swim jig, and I'm just on the inside edge of that grass, right up against those rocks. The rocks actually make it where the grass is not quite as thick. That's where the fish seem to be. Get up. That's cool. I was talking, I always talk about inside edges or outside edges of grass. Inside edge, when you've got a lake that's got a lot of reeds in it, like this one we're fishing, you can't get to the inside edge a lot of times. The grass grows right up to those reeds. This situation here, we got this riprap, there's actually a place you can get to the inside edge, and that's where these fish are.
Now after the break, Clark will wrap up fishing grass on Fishing and Hunting Texas.
I love being out here on the tour. It's all about chasing the unseen in the toughest conditions. My gear is my edge, my advantage. It's what keeps me at the top of my game. Year after year.
Wiley X, with removable gaskets to block wind, dust, and peripheral light.
Approximately 30,000 cases of Lyme disease happen each year in the United States. The main culprit, ticks. Stop and kill ticks in the outdoors with Sawyer's permethrin insect repellents. Sawyer, we keep you outdoors.
This portion of Fishing and Hunting Texas is brought to you in part by Angle Coolers, the original high-performance cooler. Sunline, the strength to guarantee your confidence, and by Outdoor Action. Watch the outdoors anytime. To fish effectively in much of Texas, you have to be able to fish grass. Clark continues with some tips on fishing vegetation.
You know, oftentimes a windy shoreline, it's not the easiest place to fish, but when it's a windy day like we got today, you get on a bank like this and you can catch some fish. You got to move baits that you're going to be able to reel quickly, but Sometimes wind is a good thing. You know, confidence is key in fishing, and colors are a really hot topic. A lot of guys think that you've got to have a ton of different colors. It might be one situation you might throw watermelon red, one situation you might throw watermelon black, one situation you might throw watermelon blue. I keep it a lot more simple. These are my favorite colors to throw. This is a Rage Craw. I like green pumpkin the best, Okeechobee Craw, black red flake, black blue flake, and that's really all I keep. I keep some white ones in there in case there's some shad stuff going on, but for the most part, the colors I've got the confidence in are the ones I throw. There's nothing wrong with having lots of different colors if you've got confidence in them. But for me, these are the ones I've got confidence in. You know, one thing to consider when buying a reel is gear ratio. What gear ratio do I need for different situations? Well, I use two different main gear ratios. I've got Johnny Moore's Signature Series reels. I've got a 6.8 to 1 and I've got an 8.3 to 1. And I interchange them all the time. Usually for baits that are like faster type baits, like a square bill, maybe a vibrating jig, a rattling bait, I'm going to throw a 8.3 to 1. A 6.8 to 1 a lot of times is what I'm just going to use on baits that I just really want to slow down. Flip and bite. Finally, I've been going after that pretty hard, and that's the first one I've got right there. Now, I'll tell you what, a flurry is what you're looking for when you're fishing grass, because those fish will stack up in one spot a lot of times. And you know, we've been going along and we have not been getting many bites. I mean, almost nothing. And you would just think, put that flipping stick down because you can't catch one. But I'll tell you right now, you can catch one. You know, when I think about fishing grass lakes, I want to get baits in the middle of it and I want to get baits close to it and around it. So really, any baits can work. It just depends on how deep the grass is that you're trying to fish. If the grass is on top that you're trying to fish, well, there's just a few baits that you're gonna be able to fish. A top water, maybe a swim jig, and if it's up top, maybe you're gonna flip in the middle of it. If you're trying to fish the outside edge, 16, 17 foot, well, obviously a big crankbait, a big spinner bait, something slow rolled on the outside, or getting down and, you know, Texas rig worm, or flipping the outside. You just have to be creative. You want to get your bait in it. A lot of times when you're pulling your bait out of the grass is when you'll get your bite.
Hey, if you have a question for Clark, reach out to him on the Fishing and Hunting Texas Facebook page. You can also check in on his blog or watch your favorite episodes on fishandhuntingtexas.com. Fishing and Hunting Texas is a Careco TV production. Hey, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.